Men of Reddit, what is something women hate about their bodies that you actually love? I saw that post on Ask Reddit, and I didn't have the courage to reveal my wife's terrifying secret. Still, my answer involves one woman in particular, not women in general. My wife, Mary, detests her body, and I once had the horrifying misfortune of learning why. I didn't see her naked until our wedding night. We're not fundamental Christians, but we had sex with the lights off for the first 5 years of our relationship. I never pushed Mary to undress in front of me. I presumed that she might be self-conscious of scars or blemishes. "Believe me," my wife said, "you do not want to see me nude." "Oh, Mary, you know I love you for your amazing brain, your kindness, and your... You know I love you for your amazing brain, your kindness, and your occasional wittiness, right?" I said, laughing. "I just also happen to think you're a smoke show. And I'd love to see your body, that's all." "You wouldn't, Will," Mary insisted. "Oh, believe me, I would. I can already see your shape through your clothes. I know you're sexy. There's no need for these self-deprecating comments," I said. "No, this isn't that," she said. "Nobody must ever look at my body." "Okay," I replied. "And hey, if you want to stop seeing me naked, let me know. Solidarity, yeah?" "No chance of that," she replied, grinning. "I want to see that dad bod." "Really?" I asked. "I was planning on going to the gym, but... Alright, I've got a figure to maintain." I often ribbed Mary about her reluctance to disrobe in front of me. It always seemed to make her feel more comfortable with the topic. I just wanted her to know that she was safe, and I lived with it because I loved her. I still had the immense privilege of gazing at her soft, freckled face. That would have been enough. But on our wedding night, something outside of our control happened. Whilst we were doing the deed, in a countryside B&B, the bedroom lights inexplicably flickered. I screamed, but my wife screamed louder. The orange glow of the grimy overhead light finally revealed her petrifying secret. Mary's bare form, upon being seen by human eyes, morphed into a wiry entanglement of veins, bloody meat, and bulging eyeballs, which observed me from her fleshless face. It was as if her body had been inverted by a flick of the light switch. "Honey?" I whimpered. Mary cried, seemingly wrestling with her own voice. "William, run!" The lights turned off again, and Mary froze on top of me, silently staring into my soul. I vaguely distinguished her skinned outline in the sliver of moonlight pouring through the curtains. Her eerie stillness filled me with paralyzing fear. "Mary?" I whispered. "No." My wife's cold, one-word answer haunted me, as did the giggle that followed. Without a moment's warning, Mary swiped at my face, drawing blood with her long, piercing nails. I yelled, overwhelmed by terror and pain, and I rolled sideways. Plummeting to the floor and dislocating my shoulder in the process, I prepared to meet a terrible, unanswered end. What has become of the woman I loved? That was the terrifying question on my mind. When I leapt to my feet and looked back at the bed, Mary had vanished. No, not Mary, I reminded myself. There was a sniffing sound from the darkness, and the door to our room squeaked open. Terrified, I briefly glimpsed my wife's meaty form fleeing the room in a hunching, animalistic pose. A concoction of love and horror drove me into that hallway at 2 a.m, and I witnessed something unthinkable. My wife, or the thing that had taken the reins, pounced upon a lone businessman heading to his room. Her teeth sank into his neck so swiftly and savagely that he didn't even utter a sound. But the excruciating pain was evident from his wide-mouthed, wide-eyed face. He was consumed alive, but fortunately, the man quickly fell lifeless and still. Mary engulfed every last scrap of him, completely removing any evidence of her heinous crime, other than the bloody carpet. She looked up from the devoured carcass with vicious canines, eyeing me in a predatory way. I wore a gormless expression. I didn't expect to be eaten on my wedding night. Not that way. That was all I thought in what I assumed to be my final moments of life. I must have been in shock. But then my wife howled into the night as her inverted figure started to sprout fleshy patches through cracks and crevices, slowly and horrifically concealing the monster beneath. Once the haunting transformation was complete, and Mary had returned, she started trembling in a nude ball on the carpet. I flicked the light switch in our room, before quickly ushering my wife back inside. I barely even registered the fact that we had both been naked in the hallway. The blood-stained carpet seemed more attention-worthy. To avoid arousing suspicion, we stayed at the B&B until the morning. An investigation was launched into the missing businessman and the mysterious stain on the carpet. Fortunately, the case was eventually closed, due, I assume, to the combination of the small B&B in the middle of nowhere, incompetent police officers, and the lack of any CCTV cameras or substantial evidence. But you don't care about that, do you? You just want to know why I would even stay with Mary after that. I love her, and I made a promise, for better or worse. Besides, it isn't Mary that I should fear in the light. I'm haunted by whatever lies beneath the surface of her skin.